Number 7. 4 firms supply the market. The market supply is 50 units at $20 and 100 units at $40. The table shows the market share of each firm at the two prices. Which firm does not have a normal upward sloping supply curve? Okay, let's break down the information first. So first of all, it says 4 firms supply the market. So this will be the supply curve for 4 firms, right? And of course, obviously, supply curve is upward sloping, so that's your supply curve. Y-axis is the price, x-axis is the quantity supplied or quantity demanded. In this case, since we're only looking at the supply curve, it will just be quantity supplied. And it says here that the market supply, also can be seen as the quantity supplied, is 50 units at $20 and 100 units at $40. So let's just mark that. So at $20, the quantity supplied is 50 units. But at $40, right, it will be at 100 units. Now it says that the table down here, right, shows the market share of each firm out of the 4 firms at the two prices, at these two prices. Now it asks which firm does not have a normal upward sloping supply curve. So to figure that out, we're just going to take each of these pieces of data for each firm and try to figure out the supply curve for each of them. So looking at the first piece of data, it says that for the firm A, let's just call it that, it says that the percentage of market share at 20% for firm A is 10. So 10% has a 10% market share at $20 and a 10% market share at $40 as well. Okay, but wait, what is the market share exactly? It is the proportion of a market that a business controls in order to satisfy customer needs. In simpler terms, it basically means how much it produces or supplies to contribute to the total supply. So look at it like this, all right? So at $20, the total units supplied is 50 units, right, at $20. And firm A contributes 10% to this 50 units. So how much did it actually supply at $20? Well, that's easy. It supplied 10% of 50 units, so just multiply 0.1 with 50 and you get 5. So therefore, the quantity supplied of firm A at $20 is 5 units. So do the same with the quantity supplied at $40. So at $40, 100 units are supplied. What is the percentage that firm A, firm A contributed to at 100 units? So it contributed 10%. So of course, out of 100, that means that it supplied 10 units. Now do the same calculation for every firm to find out the quantity supplied of each firm at $20 and $40. All right, to make it simpler, since at $20, right, 50 units are produced. So we put 50 up here. At 40, it is 100 units. Now, let's find out the quantity supplied for firm B. To do that, since it is 20%, 0.2 multiplied by 50, that will be 10 units. And since it's 50% at 50 units, that will just be 50 units supplied. And for firm C, since it's 30%, 0.3 multiplied by 50, that's 15 units. And 20%, 20 units again. And then at 40%, that will be 0.4 multiplied by 50, which is 20 units. And 20%, 20 units again, since it's out of 100 units, right? So now that we have the quantity supplied each at the price of $20 and $40, we can now guess the supply curve for each of these firms. Now let's draw a little template for our supply curve for each of these firms, because the one up here is the one for all 4 firms, and that doesn't really count. So here we have price and quantity supplied, and obviously the supply curve will be upward sloping, but let's just look at the data first, all right? The first one says at $20, let's say firm A actually. So at $20, we have 5 units of supply. So all right, $20 here, and we have 5 units of quantity supply. And I'll just do it right here. And then at $40, we have 10 units that are supplied. So since it's 40, that's 2 times 20, so we'll just put that up here. And since 10 units will be about 2 times the size of this as well, so around here. So we can guess that our points will be like this, and yes, it is indeed upward sloping. Now let's look at the second set of data for firm B. So now this time this will be for firm B. Now at $20, we have 10 units of quantity supplied. So let's just put 10 right here. And then at 40, we have 50 units supplied. So since, let's say, here is 20, 30, 40, let's say 50 is right here. So since it is 10 units at $20 and 50 units at $40, yeah, that looks like an upward sloping curve to me. So we'll go and check the next one, which is firm C. Firm C says that at $20, we have 50 units supplied. 15 units supplied, 15 units supplied right here. And at $40, we have 20 units supplied. So let's assume that this is 10, so we will have 20 right here. So at $20, it will be 15 units. $40, it will be 20 units. So yeah, that seems like an upward sloping one too. So it must be the last one. Oh, it must be the last one. Firm D. Firm D says that at $20, it will have 20 units of quantity supplied. Let's put 20 here. And 20 units again, so we're just using the same point here at $40. So $20, you have 20 units. $40, you have 20 units again. So that is a straight vertical line, which is also known as a perfectly inelastic supply curve. And is that upward sloping? No, it's perfectly straight. So this must be the one that does not have a normal upward sloping curve. So our answer is D, and that is correct.